morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is you're watching this. What did you do this week? Anything fun? Bentley and we took Sean to this like art studio retail thing that is interesting. So you go in and there's like different sections that local artists sell their artwork, but there's also areas where they can work in that area. And so you get to, if they're there, you can talk to the artists and stuff about their artwork or what they've done, because there's like jewelry and stuff in there. So there's a lot of different things in there, crafty things in there. It's a really cute place. And there was a pottery place too, right next door we went, that is very similar, kind of does the same thing as well. It's very similar, different artists. And sometimes they're in there working and you can chat with them and see what they've done. And we went in, this one does, we saw a statue of Frenchie. And so I thought, maybe we should get one of those of Bentley. So what do you think? Should we do a clay figurine of Bentley? That would be, or a pottery figurine of Bentley. That would be really cute. I'm just saying. So anyways, but yeah, so that's what we've done this week. So as this is our last video for May, because next Monday is June 1st. Sunday is May 31st. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. This is something that should be talked about year-round. Interesting enough, the company that I work for, their DEI programs, the one for LGBTQ plus IA, one of the higher ups in corporate, he wrote this article and I was reading it, and he was talking about how, like, he used to not do Pride Month, thought it was a lot, but then, or too much, but then he realized that we do it to raise awareness, in a sense, so that no matter how you live your life, you should have equal rights. So no matter who you are, what color your skin is, how you live your life, who you love, or anything, you should still have equal rights. And he says, as long as that's the case, he will do Pride Month. And I thought it was very interesting, and definitely took a lot from that article, and especially with that. And I say that, what does that have to do with mental health? Like, I say that because I feel the same about mental health. A lot of times, like, we should take the stigma off of it. There are so many ways you can prevent or work through, but also too, like, mental health, in a sense, people, when you work yourself so much, you get stressed, you get burned out, that's still mental health. You experience some form of trauma in your life, even a loss of a pet, loss of a loved one. Sometimes you suffer PTSD from that. That's still possible. Like, you don't have to be in the military and go off to war to suffer from PTSD. Like, you can suffer from that, from things that happen in your life as well. So if people, they need to be able to talk about it and learn to work through these things. And so that's where I say that, yes, we need to take the stigma off of mental health. It doesn't mean you're crazy, by no means. It just means you need to work through something happened and you need to be able to work through that. Whether you get so stressed at work, you get burned out, or whether it was something trauma that happened in your life. So yes, but you also need to utilize the resources that are available to you. If they cost, many of you, if they cost that you may not have the money for, there are other ways that you can help yourself and utilize resources that don't cost anything. There's nothing wrong with doing this. There's nothing wrong asking for help. There's nothing wrong utilizing these resources. That's what they are there for. Okay? That's why they were created. That's what they were there for. And if you don't utilize them, they're going away. I get a lot of, when I talk to people, it's like, oh, that's really good. That's so needed. But nobody utilizes it. It is needed, and it's there because it is needed, but it's not utilized. For some reason, people have this thing of not utilizing these resources because they're afraid that it looks bad, or they don't want to ask for help. Like, I totally get it. Trust me, I get it. When I lost my mom, I know I've said this in past videos, but I was really close to my mom. Like, my mom was my best friend. I talked to my mom multiple times a day. If anything, at least once a day, if not twice a day. I talked to my mom. We were texting, everything. So my mom was my best friend. And when I lost my mom unexpectedly, my whole world turned upside down and shattered into a million pieces. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do. And it hurt so much when I lost my mom. And Sean, who was amazing, him, and actually she's a good friend of mine now, but she was my district manager at the time. Both of them encouraged me to go see a grief counselor. I didn't want to, because I'm like, no, I'll be fine. I'm fine. Like, I can deal with this on my own. And he was like, Brandy, you need to go see a grief counselor. She was like, Brandy, you need to go see a grief counselor. She's like, there's nothing wrong with it. I saw a grief counselor when my mom passed. She's like, that's what the EPA is for. Call the line. Like, and then I was talking to Sean a little bit, and he's like, I'll go with you if you want me to. Let me tell you, that, like, I get it. It was so much so that Sean himself, like, I wouldn't even call the thing, the EPA, you have employee assistance program through your work, your company. I wouldn't even call the number. Like, I'm like, fine, if you want me to do it, you have to call the number. Like, I wouldn't even do that. So when I say I get it, I get it. So I wouldn't even call the number. He called the number. And then, of course, with how it works is you have to be the one to ask for help. So I then had to say, yes, I want this, etc., for them to do this. But when I say I get it, I get it. But let me tell you, that was the best decision I ever made. I loved my grief counselor. She was amazing. She was great. Like, I loved her so much, and I will be forever grateful for her for what she did. She helped a lot. And yes, Sean went with me to every session. The company only covered 3 sessions, and then after that we ended up paying for it, and because it was needed. So my point being, is you feel like it's for everybody else, but not for you. I get that. But I also get you don't want to reach out and ask for help because you don't want to seem weak. You're not weak. Remember, when it comes to, like, even a strong manager, when they have an employee, or a good manager, a good leader, when they have an employee that does something very well and better than they do, then they let that employee do that. They encourage them. They lift them up. A good leader surrounds themselves, their team of people who or who do things better at what their weaknesses are, or their opportunities, not necessarily weaknesses. They're not weaknesses, they're opportunities. Like if you haven't, if like in retail, let's say you're a really good manager, but you're not a strong seller, right? So you surround yourself with strong sellers because you still have to make that money, but you're good at building the team and managing people. So you have a really good team when you do that. So same thing, opportunity. Like so asking for help is not a weakness. You're helping yourself to be better. You're working on that opportunity in that moment that needs help. There's, like working out. Let's say you work out, right? Your arms, you have that strength in your arm, and then something happens and you break your arm, and it's in the cast. You have to fix it, and you wear a cast. You have to wait for the bone to mend and everything, and then once you do that, then you take the cast off. Well, your arm's not as strong as it used to be, and you have to work it and build it back up to that strength that you had it before you broke it. Same thing. If like when you utilize these resources, like just because you have to do that, or that's one of your opportunities, it doesn't mean it's a weakness. You're just working on it. That makes you a good person because you're working on these things. You're wanting to make yourself better for working on these things. So yes, but if like I said, if you feel these practices are good for people, then you yourself should be doing what works best for you as well. Right? If you don't need it, you don't need it. That's fine. But if you do, or if you think they're really good, maybe you need to take a really good look in the mirror and stop and look at yourself and think, is this something that could help me? Because I know it's good for other people, but is it good for me? Maybe it is, and maybe it isn't. But try. You don't know until you try. My dad always said, how do you know you don't like something until you try it, right? So yes, even I never thought I would really like kayaking that much, and I tried it once, and it was okay, and now I'm just like telling Sean's like, hey, let's go kayaking. So try it, all right. And like I said, keep in mind, if these resources aren't used, they will go away, even if they are much needed. So question is, stop and think. What helps you with your mental health? Do you have a routine or resource that you use? If you do, like, comment on it. Let us know what you use. Again, there's nothing wrong utilizing these. These are, and even if it's something you don't need now, like, utilize that resource, especially if it's free. Utilize that resource to see, because it might be something you need later on. Or you can definitely recommend it to somebody else. Say, hey, like, look, this, it looks like you need you need this resource. Like, here it is. Try it. It works, or it helps. See if it helps you. It helped me, or whatever. Just utilize the resources. Again, like I said, if you don't, they're going to go away, and we don't need that. So with that, resources, you have Lifeboat with NOMV, Not One More Vet. Lifeboat is the peer-to-peer. So you can, they hook you up or connect you with people that, like, if you're a technician and you want to chat, in small breed hospitals, and you want to chat with another technician, they try to hook you up with a technician that is very similar to what you're doing. So they would try to hook you up with a technician that's in a small breed hospital. If you're a doctor and you work with, like, livestock, they would try to hook you up with a doctor that works with livestock. Like, they try to hook you up with the same people, very similar. So it's a peer-to-peer. So you have someone similar to talk to. So Lifeboat with NOMV, Not One More Vet. All right, you have that. If you're having thoughts that you shouldn't be having, 988. Call or text 988. Remember, that's immediate response. Lifeboat is not an immediate response. 988, immediate response. You can text, or you can text 741-741. Immediate response. All right? So, and then there's plenty other resources. Look them up. There's some in the bio, in the description. Yes. So definitely check those out. All right? So, inspired by an old poem, you may not know that the world needs you, but it does. For no one else can smile your smile, say your piece, or shine your light. You are unique, and you alone can fill your place. If you were not here to shine your light, what would happen to the pilgrims passing by your empty place in the darkness without your light to help them on their way? You may not know the world needs you, but it does. Remember, what you do matters, and the world is a better place with you in it, dear person's company. Thank you for watching. Go do something fun for yourself, okay? And until next week.